Marc Thiessen joins me now. Marc, you were a White House speechwriter. How would you possibly deal with President Donald Trump, who always is going off message with anecdotes and everything? I mean, those speechwriters must be just gritting their teeth, hoping he'll get back into it. What do you think?
He calls it the weave. You got to follow them. You got to be really smart to follow the weave. But the weave is brilliant. Those rallies work. Look, and he's 100% right. You know, the idea that the Democrats are making affordability an issue, they unleashed the affordability
100%.
crisis. It was Biden's American Rescue Plan that unleashed the worst inflation in 4 decades, and then the Fed raised interest rates to tamp down the inflation, which is why homes are hard to buy. So blaming Trump for affordability would be like blaming Trump for the Afghan withdrawal. It's their disaster that he's trying to fix.
You know, Steve Moore came out with a chart which shows Trump's first term and inflation kind of meandering along in the low end of the cycle. Then Biden comes in, it goes way up. Of course, the inflation rate came down, so a lot of people are saying, gee, Biden brought it down again. Well, the prices didn't come down. The prices stabilized at that high area. Now, the few months that Trump has been in, they've been around the same area they were at the low end of the Biden era. So it's still, the affordability is, that's why affordability is still a problem for a lot of Americans, because the way that the Fed dealt with that inflation was by raising rates, which made housing impossible, car loans impossible, and that sort of thing. So that's a part of the affordability as well.
Yeah, and so he's inherited the worst economic situation since Reagan came in after Jimmy Carter, right? Biden's the most disastrous president since Jimmy Carter. It wasn't morning in America in a few months. It took a while to get to morning in America. In fact, Reagan had a recession in his first year in office. So, you know, Trump is doing a lot of good things. He passed the One Big Beautiful Bill. He delivered on cutting taxes on tips and overtime and all the rest of it. It's going to take time for all that to have an effect.
Yeah, although I think after the first of the year, people will see in their paychecks a diminution of their taxes, and that might help them a bit. Next one. Despite running a failed presidential campaign, Kamala Harris is confident that she's going to have a lasting legacy. A New York Times profile says that she called herself a historic figure whose marble bust will one day sit in Congress. She also boasted about thousands of people paying to see her on her book tour. Marc, doesn't she have a bit too much baggage for another run in 2028?
Yeah, my answer to Democrats is please, oh please, run her again. I mean, look, you know what's more likely? Do you remember the scene in Naked Gun 2.5 when Lieutenant Frank Drebin is drowning his sorrows in the blues bar?
Actually,
and the camera pans across
remember
a picture,
that, yes.
A picture of the Titanic and the Chicago earthquake, the San Francisco earthquake and the Hindenburg, and then Michael Dukakis. I don't think she's going to have a marble bust, but she might have a portrait in a blues club somewhere.
Yeah, Michael Dukakis with that big helmet on that many people say that image lost him the race. Is there anything she can do? And one thing that's extraordinary, I got to talk about Newsom for a second here. Why are Newsom's numbers up despite all the disasters that he has left behind as governor?
Yeah, so Newsom is a really talented politician. He looks the part. He sounds the part. He's just got an albatross around his neck, which is his record in California. And so he looks attractive. He looks like he could be president. And so as soon as he gets into the debates, and it's going to be the Democrats who wrap those disasters around his neck because they don't want him to be the nominee. They're going to want his opponents are going to want to be the nominee themselves. So it'll all come out in the primaries.
All right. Marc Thiessen, what a pleasure to see you, my friend. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it.
Good to see you.